Good day, friends. I'd like to thank our professor, beloved Dr. Victor Montaño, to teaching us about how to study the Bible systematically, about this subject, systematic theology. And I will grab this opportunity to share what I've learned to this subject through the teaching of Dr. Montaño. And I'd like to say that I will preach about sin. What is sin? Sin is mystery. We don't know where it came from, why Lucifer think about rebellion against God. And we don't know about that, and it's already happened. And all we need to do is to study what is sin, what is the cause of it, what is the effect of the sin in our life. So today, this very moment, I would like to share to you the nature and essence of sin. Number one is sin as rebellion against God. An analysis of the origin of sin in heaven in Eden clearly denotes that sin began as a rebellion against God and His will. Lucifer claimed, "I will make myself above high," or "I will make myself like the Most High." He said that in Isaiah 14:14. The fact that God had said, and yet went against God, words make her disobedience an act of intentional revolt. Isaiah said, "Sons that I heard and brought up, but they have rebelled against me." Daniel also said, "Confess Israel's sin, as we have sinned and done wrong, acted wickedly, and rebelled, turning aside from your commandments and ordinance." So friends, everything every time we committed sin, it's not just a mistakes, unintentionally, or even a small wrong actions, but it takes us a rebelled, just like rebelled to a government, Abu Sayyaf and PA. They are rebelling against the government of Philippines and its president, Marcos. Isn't that horrible? That what is our human strength, our human power compare to the most powerful God to rebel? So, ano na lang ayhan ang atong mga kusog, no? Sin cannot affect God, but it can affect our destiny. Thus, number two, sin as broken relationship. Again, sin as broken relationship. Your iniquities have made separation between you and God. Your sins have hid His face from you. Isaiah 59 verse 2. Paul shared his own experience in sin. He said, "I do not understand my own actions, for I do not do what I want. But the very thing I hate, I can will what is right, but I cannot do it. For I do not do the good I want, but the evil I do not want is what I do." Apostle Paul is struggling about this sin. Is struggling because of the effect of sin in his life. The broken relationship of him between his God. He's struggling. And we know Paul. And number three, sin as a state. The biblical of sin further portrays its complexity by describing as its state. Sin not only pervades the whole person, but it takes abode in the human heart. Romans 7:20. like an enemy who invades the country and becomes its occupying power. Sin has taken over the human mind and body to become ruling power. In Galatians 5:17 it says, "The desire of the flesh are against the spirit, and the desire of the spirit are against the flesh. For these are opposed to each other, prevent you from doing what you would do." So sin is a state. When sin overpowering you, it becomes it's taken over our mind and body, become a ruling power. That's why the sin as a state, it control us. It control us. So how we can escape that? Later we we can do that. We know. We will know that. And number 4, sin as a specific kind of evil. Again, sin as a specific kind of evil. Sin is not only evil, but a specific kind of evil. Not all evil is sin. Sickness and natural calamities such as earthquakes, tornadoes, and floods can be spoken as evil, in that they cause injury and affects the normalcy of life. Normalcy of life. Sin is not such an evil. It is a spiritual, moral, and ethical evil. Humans are not sinners because they commit sins, but they sin because they are sinners. Number 5, sin as transgressions. Whosoever commits sins transgress also the law, for sin is the transgressions of the law. 1 John 3:4. As a reflection of God's character, the law is a holy and just and good. It says in Romans 12. And is given for the happiness of humans, even if they did not realize or understand it. But the transgression of the law puts human being in the states of lawlessness, rebellion, and disobedience. And number 6 is sin as selfishness and pride. An essential part of the nature of sin is self-centeredness and selfishness. We know that Lucifer, because of his selfishness to become God or to be above God, ended in tragedy of sin. It's ended. All the selfishness and pride of him becomes a tragedy of sin. Number 7 is sin as enslaving power. Sin as enslaving power. Jesus said, everyone who commits sin is a slave to sin. John 8:34. So we can free from the power of sin. So how we can free? How we can free to the power of sin? By doing good to our neighbor, following the 10 Commandments perfectly? No, we can do this by ourselves, but through the power of Jesus Christ, we can meet the true freedom from enslaving power of sin. Folks, my friends, number 8 is sin as guilt and pollution. Sin is guilt and pollution. Just like what happened in our world today, polluted by sin, polluted by wicked actions of people. It's because of sin. So the question, my friends, is there hope for humanity? After we know the nature of sin, is there hope for humanity? Even though God wanted Adam and Eve to obey, He already had a plan for their redemption if they choose to disobey. Isn't just amazing and wonderful? He loved them too much to leave them without hope. That evening, when God came to meet Adam and Eve, they hid. When he found them, he asked, "Have you eaten from the tree of which I commanded you that you should not eat?" We can find it in Genesis 3:11. Instead of taking responsibility, Adam blamed Eve. When God asked Eve what happened, she blamed the serpent. That's the cause of sin. It's blame passed to another person. So they are blaming each other. In that moment of tragedy, God uttered the first promise. Speaking to the serpent, he bowed. In Genesis 3:15, the first gospel found in Genesis, "I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. He shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heels." These words pointed forward to the promise of salvation. Jesus would come to earth to be tempted and killed by Satan and his forces. He would have his heel bruised. Jesus would sacrifice his life for us, friends. Again, Jesus would sacrifice his life for us, but he would live again. Because his sacrifice, Jesus would win the victory over sin and Satan. He would bruise the head of evil. Jesus will win the victory, and Satan would be forever conquered. Fu. Jesus, God the Son, volunteered to give his life in the sinner's place. He would come to earth as the lamb slain from the foundation of the world in Revelation 13:8. He would make the gift of salvation possible. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believe in him should not perish, but have an everlasting life. For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. John 3:17. Knowing that our future is secure, give us peace and transcends. Though times God's peace will fill your heart, my friends, and help you survive anything life may bring. So, how do we accept this salvation, the offering by God? Jesus freely offered each of us the gift of total redemption from sin. Our part in accepting this gift is straightforward. If you confess with your mouth Jesus is Lord and believe your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. One believes the heart, resulting in righteousness, and one confess with the mouth, resulting in salvation. Romans 10:9-10. It is our belief in him and our choice for him that allows us to be saved, friends. And this comes to us free of charge, though it costs him the dearest price. And God doesn't just hold his gift out front of you, just out of front of you, hoping you catch it. He truly wants you to accept his gifts of salvation, friends. Once you accept it, he forgives your past sins and looks at you if you ever never sin. God exchanges your sinful reward with Jesus' spotless record, then promises to help you to learn to keep your record clean He says, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come into him and dine with him and he with me." Revelation 3:20. But it is important, my friends, to remember that this gift is your choice. This gift is your choice. Even though God knows His way is best, He will never force you to follow Him. Each of one has a choice. God gave it that, even to our first parent, Adam and Eve. But that choice, sometimes it can cause, it's either tragedy or peace. It's either life or death. It's either beast, or it's either we will worship beast or the true God. Choose, use your choice, my friends, wisely. Always choose the side of God. God bless you, and